Hey everyone, I'm Molly. I'm a product designer and the creator of UI Prep. In this video, I'm going to go over how to configure and override instances as you're designing. So before we get into it, I'll first explain a little more about what master components and instances are. So in UI Prep, master components all live on their own page over here under master components. And they're all laid out very nice and neatly. And you can think of all these master components as the original version of any component. And in UI Prep, most of them have been combined as variants, as you can see here, for example, with buttons. And this will make configuring them and using them much easier, as we're about to see. And so when you're designing, you can search for a master component and pull in a copy of that master component, which is called an instance. So if we pull in this button, we now have an instance of our button master component, and we can configure it or apply overrides to it without affecting the master component or affecting the other instances of that master component. So it's a really great way to help stay consistent and speed up your design process. So let's dive into the mini playground and go through a few examples of using instances. The first one, we are going to just configure the simple button instance. So we're going to select this default version and we're going to turn it into this hover state. So once we have it selected, we see all of our different properties and values associated with this button because it's been turned into a variant. So we see right now this is a large button. It's primary, it has no icons, and it's in the default state. So for this example, we're going to update default to hover. So for the next example, we are going to configure a nested variant. So in this dropdown, this whole dropdown is an instance, and inside of it, it's made up of multiple atoms, which are each of the menu items. So rather than updating the entire menu instance, we're just going to update this one menu item. So with fudge selected, we're going to go over here and we see that that atom was also turned into a variant. And we're going to update it from just having text to having a right icon. And we see that we've added this check mark as we were hoping to. And the next example, we're going to swap a nested variant. So in this case, in this input, we're going to swap out the icon that we're using. So right now, this one has a search icon. We're going to select just the search icon. And rather than updating any variant properties and values, we're actually going to use the instance menu over here and swap out search with our calendar icon. And now just a little fun thing about this is if we update the text or the icon, and then we change the entire input's properties or values, those changes will persist. So for example, we just changed the icon, but if we change the state from default to focused, or we add a hint, or change the type, I guess we'll keep the type to show the icon. But if we add feedback, we'll see that that icon won't change. The next item is a property override. So for this instance, we have an avatar, and it has a few styles associated with it. The first one is the photo of the avatar, and the second one is the little status badge. So if we select this, we can update the photo from the image of this man to the image of this woman. We can actually change that green color from green to red. And for our last item, we can clip contents. So we see that we have this column here. And now the original column in our master components has 20 rows in it, but they've all been clipped simply by dragging the height of the column up and down. So that's a really great tool, especially for tables, If you have a table that shows 10 row items and you want it to show 20, all you have to do is expand the height of each of those columns, and then you can show as many rows or hide as many rows as you'd like. So as you can see, using instances in UiPrep is a very powerful way to design and also really easy to use. So I hope you enjoyed the video. If so, please give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time.